Hello, everybody. This is Jennifer Sanchez. We are on live. Nancy, I do not see your face. We are on live right now, so I'm going to test and make sure that I can see ourselves.
Can you see me now, Jen?
Yep, you're perfect. Awesome. So let's see if we are on live in Facebook. Make sure that we have a signal going on here. Let's see. I don't see us on Facebook. Do you see it?
Nope, not yet.
Let's see.
Would it be on the Wise or your page?
It should be on my page. Hold on, let me push finish. We are live on YouTube. There we go. I see that we're live on YouTube right now.
Okay.
So let me see. What I'll do is I'm just gonna make sure that I turn on maybe the support group. Let's see. So let's see if it's in the Wise support group. Before we start. Okay, let's see if we're on the other platform. Give me 1 sec. And yeah, we're on the women's page, which is good. Okay, so then I could just take it from the women's page. Awesome. Okay. Perfect. I am going to take the caption off. Give me 1 moment. Hello, everyone. This is Jennifer Sanchez from the Women's Institute of Self-Development and Efficacy. I'm so excited to have everyone on live with us today. Unfortunately, we were having some technical difficulties this morning, but it's okay. We are back at it now, and we are working on getting this thing done correctly. So hopefully you guys can see the broadcast. Make sure that you chime in. We are broadcasting off YouTube. We are broadcasting off Facebook. And if you have any questions, let us know. We unfortunately couldn't have our guest on today. She is out in Michigan this morning, so we had a little bit of issues getting her on, but it's all right. We'll have her on next week. I'm sure we'll have a ball with her next week. So I think this is a fun time. So can you introduce yourself, Nancy, to our viewers?
Good morning. Happy Monday, everybody. My name is Nancy Fernandez, and I am a Wise member, and I am a mother of 2, and I am so glad it's Monday today. And to start off the week, I am by trade, I work in information technology, but I love health, exercise, and I am a Strong Hit by Zumba coach. And I welcome everybody, and I'm happy to be here.
Yay! Can you tell the viewers we all know what Zumba is. If you work out, if you go to the gyms, you know what Zumba is. Tell us what strong hit by Zumba is. It's a little different.
Yes. So a lot of people, when they hear Zumba, they think dance right away. And this strong hit by Zumba works out all parts of the body without use of equipment. That's the difference. But there is no dance involved. It's all martial arts and cardio.
Nice. Okay, perfect. So I'm glad that you gave that description because I'm sure a lot of people probably thought the same thing. I know I thought the same thing too. So
Hmm.
until you corrected me, I was like, "Oh, that's what it is." I wasn't sure what that was.
Hmm.
So I'm good. So we are on live. So again, this is Jennifer Sanchez. We are broadcasting. This is called a Wise Coffee Chat Show, morning coffee chat, because for a while I was going on in my Facebook group community and we always had wise coffee chats, let's just chat and I would talk about a topic. So I said, well, duh, why not make a show and actually invite guests and bring women from the community and promote them and promote the guests and just talk about random things like if we were having coffee. um, so
Hmm.
I love coffee, by the way. I'm sure a lot of the women love coffee too. So you know what time it is now.
Yeah. So everybody share what you're drinking. I'm going to share that I'm drinking French vanilla, and I already made it early this morning. And I love cups. Today's cup says, "Love is all you need."
Oh, that's beautiful. Love is all that we need. So let us know if you are watching, the coffee that you're drinking. And then, of course, we thank our sponsor because we also make sure we promote amazing coffee. She has this amazing, Jackie Camacho Ruiz has this amazing Café de Olla. So if anyone wants to check it out, did you ever get a bag? I know it's on her website. Um,
Mm-mm.
but it's really smooth. You do not need sugar, cream. So, and I have my owl. I love my little owl. He's my friend. Uh, so we love the mugs also over here. So, and then if you don't like coffee, just let us know what type of, do you drink tea? Do you drink something else? No worries, right?
Yeah.
Um, so while people are chiming in and sharing the type of coffee that they love, let's go into our discussions, right? So we know today's Labor Day.
Yeah. Yay. They
Yay,
are.
it's a day off. So even if people are not watching us live right now, I am sure that they'll catch the replay because people are sleeping in today. Today's, right?
I
Uh,
would.
I know today it was like, do you want to do the show? Yeah, why not? So I wanted to just share a random fact. This first started in 1882 was when unions started celebrating in New York City. So that's how long we've been celebrating Labor Day. But I love Nancy, and this myth that everyone talks about, the
Hmm.
white. You can't wear white, and did you know how that started, the whole white thing?
No, but I just know that everybody talks about the fashion thing about not wearing white after Labor Day, and I don't know, like you should be able to wear white whenever. I still see people wearing white, and I think it's just a preference. I mean, like white. I mean, it symbolizes purity. I mean, and a lot of people wear it for like New Year's, and so I don't know. I mean, the white shoes, and like I don't know. I feel like you should be able to wear it whenever. I don't think it should be like you can't wear it after Labor Day.
Yeah,
I
I
think it's
think it's
affecting the same thing. I don't know.
it has evolved. I think it's evolved over the years because I've still worn white, like a nice white blazer, so, nice white skirt. Really, it started from the Victorian era. So, really, when people were like, oh, it's summertime, it was basically like you would wear light clothing when it was Memorial to Labor Day. And
Hmm.
majority of the people, when you were wearing whites, because you were like in your vacation mode, you were in your summer cottage, right? Like that's where the whole wearing white started. You were just not wearing regular attire, I guess. That if you're wearing white, you're like in vacation mode. That was what it's supposed to symbolize. So I was like, man, I wear white all the time now if that's the case, because I want to be in vacation mode all the time.
Right. Yeah. Yeah,
Right?
whenever. And I think it's just in the mind, or like, like a girl thing sometimes, like, oh, girl, why are you wearing white? You're not supposed to wear white after Labor Day, and then somebody will say, well, hey, it's preference. I like to wear white, or red or whatever. But, like, I don't know. I just feel like after today, after we're talking about this, I'm going to wear white. I mean, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. It's just the color, right? I mean, like,
Yeah, it is a color, and I think even with fall, people usually tend to go with the oranges and the reds, and
not orange.
yeah, it goes into a whole different ball game. But we have Mary, good old Mary. We love Mary. She's drinking French vanilla flavor coffee too. Woohoo! So that's our Labor Day fun. So I guess for those that are watching, or Nancy, what are your plans for today? Before we go into our topics, what are you thinking of doing today? I know today is a hangout day.
Yeah. So we were invited to for hamburgers at a friend's house, and I had told my kids we're gonna go have a basketball game between them and me.
Oh,
And they're like, "You don't know how to play." I'm like, "Yes, I do. Just because I'm older doesn't mean that I don't know how to play. I like basketball." So we're gonna go play basketball and just hang out, And I told them this is a relaxed day, and they better do their laundry. I told them, "You guys better do your laundry." I said, "Because I already did mine, so I'm waiting for you."
nice. I did not know you like playing basketball, Nancy. That was a hidden thing that I just learned about you right now.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, well now I know who I could play basketball with. If you come to the retreat, there's a basketball net there, so we could play basketball.
Awesome.
Um, so let's go into our next topic and go for it, Nancy. Take it away. I know you wanted to talk about this on the air.
Yeah. Well, it's just because I often hear like coworkers and, like chit chatter like around this time, and they're like, oh yeah, it's that Mexican date that's coming around, and and it's time for the guacamole. Like the food, I could say it's the same. People probably like have the same thing, right? Guacamole, right? That's like typical, like in any Mexican party, right? But I think that it's important that people know the difference. Like El 15 de Septiembre, September 15, and May 5th. Like September 15 is the Mexican Independence Day. And then they celebrate a yell. It's called El Grito, right? On the 16th, right? And then where, they talk about the independence, and, Mexico became independent from Spain, right? On September 15th. So that's what the difference is, that on the 15th, it's Independence Day, and May 5th, it was a victory over a French battle. And I think everybody's like, oh, it doesn't matter. It's a Mexican, and I don't know. It's a big deal too. Well, me, because, you're not going to say Labor Day and Memorial Day are the same day, right?
For sure, for sure.
Like that, it's like saying that, and it's not, and so like, I just wanted people to know the difference, that, September 15 is Mexican Independence Day, and May 5th was a battle that Mexico won over the French.
In Puebla, right? Which is a city in
Yes.
in Mexico. And I don't know how many, like, I've never celebrated Cinco de Mayo ever. Ever.
And
Like,
do you know that May 5th is like the most celebrated here in US?
yes,
Because
yes.
they have all the beer commercials, they have all the guacamole commercials, and they're just celebrating, the May 5th. I think that one's more popular than actually September 15th.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like May 5th, Cinco de Mayo has become a very like mainstream type holiday where, hey, let's just celebrate. I guess we could say it is a celebration of, Mexican culture, right? You see maracas, and you see like the colorful tablecloths, and you see like the sombreros, right?
Right?
Yeah, yes, that's what you see. But like, I've never in my home been like, let's put on our sombrero. Let, let's bust out the maracas. Go, Inez, get the maracas. And like, we don't do that. So,
Yeah.
but it is really like, it's for America, right? It's like, oh, let's just have this day where we like bust out maracas. Like, no, we don't do that. So, I don't know. Have you ever done that, Nancy? I might be speaking, you
No,
might.
it's more the flag for us. Like the flag outside your door. And
Mm.
not the car thing. And I'm not too fond of the car thing because when they started that thing where the police started stopping you for having the flag in your car and things like
Oh
that.
yeah, because it's obstructing the view. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. So like, yeah, September 15th, I've celebrated that. We've gone, you go outside, you walk around, especially when you're young and you're a kid, right? I haven't done it in a while either.
You go
But
to the parade,
yeah,
and it's
go
fun
to
at 26th Street, but there's so many people, you know.
yeah, and the parade they have the horses. I've seen
Mhm.
like the horses come out, and it's good. It's celebrating independence of a nation like any other independence, right? So that's awesome. That's awesome. So I'm glad that we differentiated it. So for those that are watching now, you know the difference. Do Mexicans celebrate this? Probably May 5th. We don't really celebrate May 5th. Unless you are from Puebla, I think there is a whole like event around it, right? So,
Mhm.
um, that is
I
awesome.
think it's more a drinking get together, more for May 5th, I think, or something like that. I don't
Yeah, it's an excuse to get drunk. Yeah,
know.
I guess if you what's the German holiday that people used to get drunk also? Um, ah,
Oktoberfest or what?
is it Oktoberfest? Is it
Mhm.
Oktoberfest?
Yeah, we used to have it downtown. Because I work over there, and they used to have the Berghoff. I don't know if you heard of it or not. And they used to have like a whole thing all week about Oktoberfest, and they used to have bands and food and things like that. So I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, right? I guess if it's an Irish holiday, a German holiday, a Mexican holiday, if you find a reason to drink, you're gonna drink, right? And party. So good for people.
Andrea says we used to go on Lawrence Street and wave flag and scream Mexico, Mexico.
Yes,
Andres. Yeah.
yes.
Yep.
That was part of the show. That was part of the life when we were younger.
And that's more for the September 15. I don't know, right, Andrea? Like, people were, it's more meaningful. That's what we're saying, right? September 15 is El Grito, on the 16th, where they, get Viva Mexico. And, like they would say like this whole spiel about Mexico and, stuff like that. So I thought that was
Yeah, yeah. And we have Mary. She said it is a beer holiday.
yeah. Cinco de Mayo.
Yes, she's talking
Right?
about Cinco de Mayo.
Mhm.
Well,
Yeah.
that's good. That's good. I'm glad that we have women engaging. So now we're going to go into our next topic, women equality in the workforce. Important topic, right? I think women need to always be discussing about these topics. Go for it, Nancy. Share a little bit about what you discovered.
Yeah, like recently I've discovered in reading this, right? And thinking about what I could talk about in this month about the topics, right? And I didn't think a lot of people like haven't been talking about this lately, you know? And, like I never thought about men making more than women. I graduated college. Like, our first concern is like, what, graduate college or whatever is it that you're doing and then get a job, right? And then I don't know about you, but I never thought about men making more than women. I mean, do women even think about that? I mean, because nowadays it's not even talked about and not many people are engaged. And I don't think a lot of people know what to do to engage and make this, enforcement, I personally think that there's not too many women in Congress. And I don't know, quite frankly, if it's just something that they're intimidated by men, and not all of them, right? Because this new, I forgot her name, but she just said something about some other her coworkers talking about her or something because she didn't approve of something that they wanted or something like that. Ocasio, I think her name is. I don't know if
AO.
anyone in the chat or
Mm-hmm.
you maybe know her name, and it happened like not too long ago.
Yeah, it's well, they call her AOC.
Yes.
Court. So I mean, if you say AOC, I forget always her first name also. But I know exactly who you're talking about. So yeah, go for it. Keep talking about the situation that happened with her. I'm not familiar with that situation.
Yeah. So apparently, I mean, from what I remember reading, and this just because sometimes it just like bugs me. I don't know about everybody else, but it does exist, in the workforce, and the things that we have to go through, even in IT. For me, like I've gone through it a lot because it's been a male dominated environment, and when they see a woman, it's like she can't do it, or like why is she here? She probably can't even lift 50 pounds or, and stuff like that. I always used to get that all the time, and I don't know, it is intimidating, but I'm an Aries and I don't know about only Aries, but just my person itself is like, oh yeah, I can't do it. Yes, I can. I can do what you can do and better, and it's just not, just because you're talking smack or whatever, and it was hard, being in IT as a woman because most men did dominate and they wanted to have the say so, and they didn't think that women had ideas to go forth in this arena. And that's why it's so important to me because regardless of the pay, for me was making a point that we can do it. Alejandra Ocasio Cortez. Thank you, Mary. Yes. So anyway, coming back to the story was, I forgot what is it that they were trying to approve. So she went against her male colleagues or something like that. And they offended her and called her names. And in front of, or I guess, it went public, this went public, I guess. And she mentioned something about that she wasn't going to say anything because she knew the person that she was, and she didn't need to define who she was because she knew who she was and her worth, but that there was girls and young girls watching, and because of this reason, her parents didn't teach her to take that kind of stuff from men. And so she was defending herself and saying that, she was not what that guy said, that bad word, whatever he said. And like basically said that you're not gonna define me, and I'm still gonna have my opinion and say what I have to say, but regardless, and that was good, like that really empowers other women to step up and say something, when they're being bothered or harassed in that manner, right?
Yeah, I think in that situation, I know we talked about it a couple episodes ago with the whole situation of how they if I remember, unless I know that she's always in some sort of controversy with her male colleagues. I know like a lot of people really hate her, and I think maybe it's because of the political viewpoints that she has, but I mean, I like her. So, I mean, but at the end of the day, it has nothing to do with like political agenda. It has to do with the fact that she's a woman. So anyone that's a woman in Congress to me is a plus. But I think, as we keep talking, when we're talking about the wage gap, right? And I was aware of Latinas making 49 cents to the dollar of their male counterparts. And we are the lowest of all women. We're behind, I think next is African American women, and then it's Caucasian women, right? I think like, and I might be wrong, but it's like regular, just women in general. What I read was 79 cents to the dollar of their male counterpart. So I guess it's just, how do we, of course, we have to bring awareness to the situation, but really people need to start lobbying and getting involved. And it has a lot to do with the politics behind it, right? Whoever's representing you in Congress, they need to make sure that they're putting laws in place so that women can make more wages and be equal to men. That's where it's going to stem from. And if we don't have people lobbying, we don't put people in places that are going to help us make that amount of money, right?
And
It's
how
not,
can you vote, right, Jen? I mean, like a lot of people are like voting, right? I mean, putting those the right correct people in office, and a lot of people are like, well, who are the correct people in office, right? And that's when we do our research, and maybe they might not be the best, but that's when you come in and you talk to them and write letters, right? And whatever it takes, because I mean, if little kids can do it, why can't adults do it? It's like
yeah,
something that a lot of people about voting, the census, right? And, like a lot of people are scared. There's a lot of ways that a lot of people are like, I'm not going to do that. It doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter, if I vote or not, because they're still going to put whoever in office. Or it does matter, because all voices count. And even though we may be overruled, at some point or whatever, but if we keep talking, right, and if you keep writing it, right, that helps too, because a lot of people, I figure, like they just let go because it's not happening. I was reading that by the time that we get equal pay, it'll be 22-21.
wow.
And wow, I mean, like, seriously, why? Like, I mean, I don't know. It's just, I think, awareness. I mean, awareness. And this is why this topic was so important to me, because, 22-21, wow, that's insane.
That's, yeah, yeah. It's American women in 2010 average about 81% of what their male counterparts earned. So that people can have an idea. Women surpass men in education, right? Women have 50% more likely to work in the public sector. So it's there's a lot of things to take into consideration, right? Like 79% of health and social workers are women. 68% are women in education services. 43% are in the tech field, in the science field, in the professional field, and then 8.9% are in construction. So this just gives us an idea of women in the workforce, right? So Mary just wrote, our daughters won't even get equal pay. Oh, and by the way, I see Andrea. I didn't notice Andrea wrote, even for Guatemala, September 15th, we celebrate. So Andrea also celebrates for Guatemala on September 15th. Um, but yeah, this is just a good topic to bring awareness, right? There was a video that I saw, and everyone's always focused on the president, the president, the president, the president, the president. Yes, we are in, this is a year that we're going to vote in a president, but the people that you really have to look at, that you got to vote in, are the congressmen, right? Are the ones that are actually making the laws, right? Because remember, the president just signs, approves, vetoes, right? Right? But there are actual people that are putting laws together and then present the laws. So you got to see, who are your congressmen? Who are the senators, right? Who are these people that are fighting for you and representing you to the president, right? So everyone's always focused on the presidency, but no one focuses on those other important areas, right? We got the judicial, we got the legislative, and we got the executive, right? So everyone focuses on the executive, but no one's focusing on legislative branch, right? Even judicial branch, the judges, right? Like those that are passing the law. So there was this video that I saw that someone shared, and I was like, oh my God, that makes so much sense, right? And I'm definitely not an expert in politics, so I'm just going based off what I saw in the video. But you gotta see the candidates and what they believe in, and are they for, do they have similar beliefs as you and your family, right? And I think that's, people just say, oh, well, I'm Democrat because I'm Democrat, or I am, what's the other one? I already forgot. Republican because I'm Republican, right? Because your family says it, because whatever, right? But people don't look at, well, does that Democrat believe in the same beliefs that you do and are working towards the things that you want? We just assume Democrat is working class, right? Middle class America, right? That's just kind of like where our mind goes, no
Right.
matter what.
Yeah. So it talks. I'm not sorry to interrupt you, but I had this thought. I'm like, it's more about informing yourself and going to these rallies, right? Where they're trying to get elected, right? And see what they're about, because that's the only way that you're going to know who to put in position, and not just pick anybody when you go vote, because you really don't know, when you go vote, most people sometimes are in the somewhere in the cloud, just like picking, like this, this sounds good, this sounds good, right? Instead of informing yourselves, to pick the right people, and not only pick, but also know who is in your area and who you need to write to, so that they make these changes, or at least start advocating, right, for these changes to make, to take effect.
Yeah, yeah. So, and going piggybacking on your point, Nancy, even people that are undocumented, right? I've heard people like, well, I'm undocumented. I really can't do anything. No, you can do a lot because you're still paying taxes. You're still working. I mean, there's people that are still paying their taxes, whether they're undocumented, whether they're DACA, right? A lot of people don't know that DACA, right? Dick Durbin was one of those that was pushing DACA, right, with Obama. So you got to know who's pushing these laws and making the way for you. And I guess just lo and behold, if you can just pick up the phone, make a call, all of those calls are recorded. Every time a call comes into a congressional office or a senator's office or even an alderman office, right? They record that. That's recorded. Like every time an email comes in, like now there's paper trail, right? Now they have to notice this. People have to make a record of this. But if people are not saying anything, how are they going to know? This is why you go to poor communities or working poor communities. Guess what? Why do you think when you go to a nice area, let's just say Wicker Park, right? Let's just throw a nice area, Edgewater. Let's just throw Lincoln Park, right? Let's throw Gold Coast, right? Do they have holes in their streets? Do they have graffiti? Do they have broken things, right? Do they have vacant lots?
Right.
No. Why? Because there's people like making phone calls, making sure that the constituents' voices are being heard, right? But then you have communities that might not have the same resources, right? Let's think of the South Side, right? I worked in McKinley Park for years. McKinley Park, Brighton Park. Let me think of other communities in the South Side. Let's just Little Village, right? Pilsen's actually, more up and coming, and a lot of gentrification happening there. But let's just think of these not poor, but working class communities. No one's advocating. No one's speaking up. People are fearful of saying, hey, I want you guys to provide this for my community. Hey, I need a stop sign. Hey, I need some crossing guards. Like, no one's saying anything because no one knows they can do that. And especially when they're undocumented, they think no one's going to listen to me, right? I'm afraid that someone's going to call la migra on me is more of the concern.
Yeah, no, yeah, and that's true. But if they can, like if today, if anything, if you take anything from this chat, if you're a wise woman, promote it. Talk to people. Let them know that they have a voice, and if they're afraid, then have somebody that does have a voice or thinks that they have a voice say it. Because sometimes they have wonderful ideas, but they don't share them because they're afraid.
Yeah.
And you need to come out, and we need to make a change. We
Yeah.
can't be scared, and we really need to make a change, and it's not going to change if we it doesn't start from us. We have each and every one of us has the opportunity to make that change, and if we get together, we can make a great change. So
Absolutely.
I'm hoping that the reason why I talked about this is that more women get together and, we start talking about things and making a difference. Even in the philanthropy, I think I was reading also, women that have businesses, to start, advocating and talking about it, and sharing this kind of data because, we as women, sometimes, we we think about, the money and, the business and stuff like that, and sometimes we forget that there's also that side, where we need to educate and, talk about the inequalities and, things that, affect us as women and just in general as a community, right?
Yeah, yeah. That's why they have, lobbyists, right? They literally go and they'll go to Springfield, right? We're in Illinois, so they'll go to Springfield and they'll sit in the meetings and they'll talk to their, the Congress people. They will make sure that their voices are heard. Companies pay and hire lobbyists to make sure that laws that benefit them are being passed. But
Right.
it's more difficult for the community, or the in the interest of the community, to send lobbyists out there. I just remember that, where I used to work, we had always lobbyists. We would always look for volunteers from our community to go. There would be like, hey, a bus is going to go to Springfield. We need to advocate for these wages, or we need to advocate for this, or we need to talk about this. And then they would just send a busload of people to Springfield. So yeah, there's a lot that's involved, but a lot of people are unaware that people can do this, right? I was actually watching the Disney Channel with, I wasn't watching the Disney Channel. My daughter was watching the Disney Channel and I was there. And it was interesting because, we have 17 and 18-year-old lobbyists, right? And right now with COVID, they don't have to travel. They just go online. Like, you can go and find their links and just get on their Zoom calls and have conversations with them. So like, even now, if you're concerned of, hey, I can't travel to, where Congress meet in my state, you can go on Zoom. Like, find a way to get there electronically, right? So, or I should say, virtually, not electronically.
Right.
But I think that this is a great topic to talk about wages, and if we want more wages, how we have to voice our concerns. So thank you for bringing that. I think this is a great topic to talk about, Nancy. And of course, we have to talk about this
Yeah.
topic.
Yes. Okay.
uh, Women and multitasking. So there was some fun stuff on this topic, and I know Nancy did a little bit of research on it too, and I read on it too. But if you can share a little bit about what you saw.
Yeah, well, a lot of them were like men are better at multitasking. I was like, wait a minute, no, 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 no. I'm like, I don't agree with that. I'm like, because like right now, COVID is a perfect example. Like moms are like working. They're like having their kids, sit down, have a schedule, sit down with them, cooking, right? Because they want to eat breakfast and they want to eat lunch, right? And they get hungry, and taking care of all the kids, right? Who, if you have more than two, right? I only have two, but in the cases where they have three or more, they're on the phone, right? They're on conference calls, and I'm like, where do you see a guy doing all this? I haven't seen, and if any of you guys have that kind of partner, kudos, but like, there's times where like even I talk to my boss and I'm talking about so many things, and he's like, okay, wait a minute, just one thing at a time, and I'm here like three or four things, I'm done, like I'm remoted onto like four computers, I'm actually fixing four computers at a time, and then I'm still on the phone, and I don't know about you guys. I'm like, share your comments. I'm like, what do you guys think? I'm like, I think we are better multitaskers only because, when you become a wife, in most cases, we are the ones that are doing the grunt of the things, that they don't want to do,
Yeah.
I don't know. Share, you guys that are out there, share your comments. I don't know, Jen, what do you think?
Yeah, there was one article that I was reading, and it was interesting because it was a multitasking article and it was a study. And what they did was they put men and women in front of a computer and they did a test, right?
Yeah.
And they had to switch between multitasking, counting, and shape recognition. So when they did this and they started switching it more rapidly, like the I guess whatever they were showing, it took men 77% longer to respond versus women who took them 69%, right? So that in itself, that's a study, right? There's actual evidence
Yeah.
of how long it takes someone to, does not mean, in the article it was pretty specific to say, it does not mean that men cannot multitask, but the response rate of a woman's response versus a man's response is totally different, right? So,
Mhm.
and I love the little picture, we'll share it too in the comments section, how women, they had to find, uh, lost things, so they would actually look, let me see, they had to search for something, and the pattern of the way that women were trying to solve something was like they were literally just going very rectangular, kind of back and forth. Like, I'm always picturing, like, when you're doing crossword, not crossword, but you're trying to, I don't know if you do this, but when I try to look for words and crossword puzzle, I kind of just go and skim through each
Yeah.
one like this, right? To try
Mhm.
to like find the words. Well,
Mhm.
that's what it said, how women usually solved that task. But then men, they were kind of just like circles, like they just circled everywhere. And it was just like, and I've always heard this, right? That women brains are like noodles and men brains are like compartments, right? Like, and I know for a fact I can't throw everything at my husband at once. Like, there's just no way. I'll be like on five different topics. Like you said, I'll be like boom, 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 boom. Like, wait, hold up. If he's like drilling or he's working on something, he's not even paying attention to nothing that I just said, right? So that's
Mhm.
first and foremost, because he's in his I'm working construction mode and I'm not paying attention to nothing else. So
Yeah.
I could talk to him all day, but nothing's gonna get absorbed, right? But
Yeah.
once he's done with the task, then we can actually, have a conversation. So I think that's a great example of our heads are like noodles, our thoughts are like noodles, and their thoughts are like compartments, right? Are you
Yeah.
in this compartment right now? What compartment are you in?
Yeah. It's like you can only do one thing at a time, you know? Now let me change the cook. Let me turn the page though with that. Now they were also talking about, now what if it had to do something that we don't know how to do, like a car, like like fix a tire. Most of us do. Some women do. I give credit to those women that change tires, right? Good morning, Maria. Yeah, but what do you think about that? I'm like, I know I wouldn't be able to change a tire. Mis uñas, right? It's my first thing. Or it's heavy, or I'll probably have to call somebody, right, to come and help me. But
Yeah.
there are some women that do change tires, and kudos to them, right? But what do you think about those kind of tasks? Then I think in those tasks we would probably be like, okay, we need help.
Yeah, for sure. Like, that's probably not everyone's a woman's forte, right? Like, that's not their like skilled, or I mean, yes, there are women that do it, and yes, there are women that are in the trade, and that they, they do those type of things. I know how to do it. I was taught by my dad, and I was shown by my dad, and I think my husband even showed me too. But I never would take it up. like like I
Yeah, it's not something I would like jump on to do.
yeah.
I just take it somewhere, and get it done or whatever. But even still, like, appointments like that, right? Like, okay, so take car to, get tires fixed or something like that. And, like then, get an Uber and go grocery shopping, right? And then come back, or like some stuff like that. Like we would like multitask in that sense. We
Yeah.
might not be able to do like some tasks like in that department, like at least for cars, some of us. And so I think in that also, like I wasn't gonna try to be like, oh yeah, women are, we could do everything and we're better. There's some things that we can't do as well as they can, right? Because they were either taught right by their dad, and that's what they do, right? Because they're the guy, right? But then there's some guys that don't do it either. So
Yeah.
the drawback of that as well.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
but for the most part, I think that we can do many things at one time. Like we can be on the phone, and then the kids are like screaming and like playing video games, and you're like, I can say or calm down or whatever, and homework time, and so we can be in a lot of things and accomplish a lot of things at one time. I think.
Yeah. Yeah. And this is a great article that you shared with me, and I want to share Maria's comment. My husband thinks he can multitask, LOL. So I think the thing is when you multitask, right? It's like that study. What it was is they had to just switch image from the next image to the next image, right? And like, okay, now I'm gonna count, and now okay, I'm gonna do that. And remember, like in that study, the women were able to like pick it up quicker,
Yeah.
right? And I think that I was taught by a coach that there's no such thing as real multitasking, right? There's no such thing. Is and in their perspective, it wasn't about just going like we can like jump on phone, stir a pot, yell at the kids, then start thinking about laundry. Like we can mentally do all those things, but I think it's the shift between each item, how quickly we can shift, right? Modes. Like think about it. You're on the phone and then you see something, hey, and then you go back, or you're like doing this and then you look at the pot and you're like, oh, let me stir it, right? We can our reaction time's a lot quicker in that sense,
Mhm.
and we can handle all those things. But they say multitasking, really, you're neglecting something, right? You are neglecting something. You're not putting your full 100 attention on that thing. So, like, let's say, for example, like I have the show right now and on my phone and I'm typing and clicking and actually writing something. Well, I'm a little bit neglecting you, Nancy, and neglecting the audience because I'm here trying to type. My brain is writing words out, right? I'm writing a sentence out. So in the sense of what the coach was telling me was like, you are neglecting. You're not really doing two things at one time. You're taking your attention off one and putting it on another.
Mhm.
So it's not like we can both our brains at the same time can do two things exactly at the same time. That's not what multitasking is. So I
No.
just wanted to share that, like, and probably one of my pet peeves is people when we have conversations and people on the phone. It's probably one of my personal pet peeves. Like, look at me, right? Like I know you ain't paying attention.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm always like that one person. If they're not looking at you in the eye, it's going in one ear and out the other. That's what I always say.
Yeah, right, right. We have Maria, she said, and it's always when he's warming up tortillas, but somehow they always end up like tostadas. Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
That's a good one. That's happened to me too. I'm not gonna lie. I put tortillas and then I go eat, and I'm like, oh, the tortillas, and I run back and go go get them. It's happened. It's happened.
Happened. Yeah.
But this is a good conversation, and it seems, I think women can multitask. I mean, there's plenty of evidence that we are, and doesn't mean men can't. Men can as well, but it just, you know, sometimes we can handle things a little bit more differently. That's all.
Yeah, and then it also ties into like the equal pay thing, like where, not to go back to that topic, but I'm just saying that, women can do a lot more things in during one time. And that's why they should consider more, hiring more women in, higher positions, because, I think it would make a difference in a lot of areas. And not to like break the whole conversation or change it, but like I'm proud of myself because like during this time, a lot of people were talking about like Black Lives Matter, right? And they do matter, and they were talking about that, and I took that during my work, an email that they sent, and I just made a point that yes, they are very important, but there are also other things like women and I forgot what else I said, but in the email, but I just said that, I would like to take this opportunity that just because, I believe highly in Black Lives Matter, I'm like, so do women in the workforce. And, I also would like to see like a diversity with women and things like that. And yeah, so they did listen, and now they're doing some kind of diversity thing, and I'm part of it. And, and I asked them and if you do implement something like this, I would like to be part of it.
Good.
Because
Good.
women are also do suffer in the workforce, like harassment and just many things that they don't say. And it's not only women. I mean, the Hispanic community, like anybody. I mean, if Black Lives Matter, so do Mexican Lives Matter as well. I mean, women, in general, and then anything. I mean, I just wanted to take that opportunity to tell them, like, hey, I'm seeing this, and can we make a difference in this? And
Yeah.
I didn't think that they were gonna like take it seriously. They're probably just gonna be like, yeah, 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 whatever. But no, they did. And so like now I'm part of it. So now this month we're actually going to have a meeting in diversity with this person that they hired, and I'm excited. So that's why I brought this topic up, and I feel it's important that we all speak up. Like it's it, even if you say something, you never know if when you say that one word or one thing, it's going to make a change. Not that I'm saying that this is going to make a change for me in the workforce, but you never know.
Yeah, and I like that you said, like, I think it, you know, and to go to the BLM movement, it's critical because, like I've said before, like it's a human rights issue. So it's all, if that issue is, taken care of, taken seriously, then, then every other race and human also will be valued, right? Like what is it? All lives matter until Black lives matter is the saying that I've seen, even like I think it was in a Sprite commercial recently, right? So it's like everyone's life matters, of course. We're not saying, right? But let's focus on this one particular issue that's going on so that everyone can benefit
Right.
from that. Once you take care of that, everyone else is going, every race is going to reap the benefit of that movement.
Hmm.
So I like that you spoke up and you shared that with your company. And I think a lot of women don't feel that they can speak. Like, we need to have more diversity training. We need to have more training about inclusion. We need to have, companies about hiring a more diverse team. Like, do you have a diverse team?
Right.
Where it's more women, different ethnic backgrounds, different races, right? Um, and that's really, what we want to see, more inclusive for everybody. So I'm glad that you brought this up, Nancy, because yeah, it's a topic that's near and dear to your heart, and you're involved and you're doing things in your company, and hopefully that women watch this will say, hey, I want to do this in my company too, and it'll empower them to bring these type of issues to their employer's attention as well, right?
Right.
So that's a good company. If you said something and they listened and then they took you up on what you presented them,
Yeah,
kudos to you.
and I was like I said in my mind, I'm like, I don't know if they'll listen, and I was kind of afraid, but I'm like, you know what? I'm like, what else can they say? Ignore me, right? That's all they can do, ignore me and move on. And but I at least had that opportunity to say something, because it at the time when I read the email, it just like, okay, I'm like, and I understand and I fully agree. I'm like, but I think that these other things need to be looked at as well, and because I said that one thing, things evolved, and I didn't think it was going to be this quick, but it did. And like I'm part of it, and so I'm excited, and that's why I was sharing, because I would like all the women, if they get that opportunity, never be afraid, and say something. You never know when it will turn into something good, for everyone, not just ourselves, but everyone.
Yes, yes. And I'm going to share Maria Vargas, her post. She said, I think the expectation is that we can. That's why men won't. At least mine won't. Thank you for sharing. And
Yeah.
then Mary said, getting out of our comfort zone is what makes changes.
Right.
Absolutely. Having those difficult discussions, right?
Right.
Bringing things to people's attention. Like you said, it was difficult, to bring this to your employer's attention, but you did it and you pushed through that fear, which is very it's something that we can all admire from you. So thank you for sharing that, and I'm glad that you're on the show. You're the co-host for the month, so that's very exciting. I know today's Labor Day. I'll probably just do some gardening today, and watch. I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna watch movies probably, like, and hang out with my
I'm reading the book.
family. You're gonna read, oh yeah, I gotta read my
I'm on
book too.
chapter 8 now.
You're on chapter 8. I just got my book yesterday. I haven't even opened it yet. So for those that are watching, we have a book club in our Wise community, and we are reading. What's the book called right now?
High five.
High Five.
Look at, see, I
Yeah.
have it already.
She has the book. So for the month of, actually, it's great that you're bringing that up right now because for the month of October, we're offering um, women to join the book club for free just for the book of October that we will be reading, which will be about decluttering. So if anyone wants to join the book club just for the month of October, usually it's part of our membership program, but just for the month of October, we're offering book club at no cost to anyone that wants to join and just experience what this feels like being part of a book club, be part of a membership. All our books are revolved around development, professional and personal development, and spiritual growth. So we stick to those type of books, and it all goes in line with curriculum that we implement in our program. So everything that has to do with, like I said, development, but boundaries, confidence, self-love. Like we read a lot of those type of books and genres in our book club. There's a bunch of book clubs out there, but ours is specifically about personal and professional development. So anyone wants to join, let us know. And of course, I want to make sure that I promote Retreat 2020. I have to share this with the viewers. Um, we've This is our third retreat this year, and it's a whole different spin, entirely different. For those that are watching, usually when we have retreats, we like to get one big cabin and throw 15, 20 women in it. And everyone's like in bunks. Like it almost feels like camp, right? Like literally. Like so the women love it. It's kind of like very like a lot of bonding, a lot of getting to know one another, that girls feel like girls trip, right? I usually am not in the cabin. I'm in my own separate space, but I know the women love it, right? I hear stories all the time. Yeah, but this year, due to COVID, we won't be doing that. We actually have rooms, so like a hotel space. There are still cabins, but that's the the way that we're planning is you're just paying for the retreat and paying for the retreat experience, but you are responsible for your room and board, your food and your room. That's all on you. The reason being is because we want to avoid one cross contamination. We want everyone to have their own bathrooms and their own space because we don't want anyone to feel like, oh my God, it's COVID. I have to share a whole space with another woman. It's on you. You want to share a space, a room with a lady? That's on you. Like you guys do whatever you gotta do to feel comfortable, take your test, whatever, but it's not my responsibility, right? Um, so once you book your retreat with me and reserve and pay, I send you the link to reserve your room so that you can take care of that with the actual location. And you don't even have to stay at that location. You could stay anywhere, right? You could stay at any hotel or any place, but we highly strongly recommend staying at the location where we're having the experience because we're doing a lot of activities around there. And it's 85% outdoors. There is, many retreats, in our past, we would have them indoors, conference style. This year, that is not the case. It's 85% outdoors, meaning a lot of outdoor activities, a lot of bonfires, a lot of beach experience, a lot of working out. So if you're up for all these experiences, join our retreat. It's the end of the month, the last weekend in September. Our member price is $149 if you're a member, and it's $199 if you're a non-member. But literally from Friday to Sunday, it's an entire experience, and the goal is spiritual, physical, and mental. Like really, like let's break these barriers and help you get some power. What's your next power move? That's literally Power Her Moves is the name of the retreat. So I'm excited. I'm excited.
Oh, yes. You will not come back the same person.
Never, never.
Oh, you'll never come back the same person. And you won't regret going.
Oh, yeah. Nancy's been to both retreats, both years. So I'm hopeful she'll come to the third one because it's totally different. Every retreat has always been different, right? I mean, I
Yeah.
would say, um, there's a whole process I go through of meditating and planning and praying and getting into like fasting for the retreat so that the women can have the most spiritual, powerful experience that
Mhm.
they can have. So I'm excited about this year's retreat. So just sharing that. And again, thank you, Nancy, for being our guest host this month. Mary said it's like a slumber party.
Yeah.
um, so thank you. Do you have any final words, Nancy, to share?
Well, just basically consider going to the retreat, consider joining the book club, being a member, because this group really empowers women. And if you're going through a funk, or you feel like you need something else in your life, consider joining Wise and being here with our chats. Joining us. It makes a big difference. And, please consider making a difference. Don't be at home pouting and like wondering what you should do or what not to do or being bored, because, we want to use that energy so that we can become empowered as women and just in our community and this group. And, I'm going to hopefully enjoy these next couple weeks. This is my first time, but I really enjoyed it. Thank you, Jennifer, and I hope everybody has a blessed day, blessed week, and I can't wait to see you guys on Monday. Next
Yes,
week.
yes. So make sure to join us next Monday for your inspiration, conversation, and motivation. So thank you, Nancy, again. Thank you for our viewers, and God bless everyone and have a beautiful holiday today.